What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the second part of game week 21 in the Premier League. We start off at the Emirates where Arsenal battered Crystal Palace by 5-0. I did think Arsenal were going to win comfortably, but I only thought it was going to be 3-1. Now Arsenal did score two very late goals through Martinelli in the space of a minute in added time to make it 5-0. It was only 3-0 before that, but half the Arsenal crowd had gone, and it's disappointing to see that because it was a 12:30 kickoff. There's plenty of time to get home, just stay until the end of the game. Arsenal by far the better side. I think you could tell that from the scoreline. They were really good from set pieces. Two of their goals came from corners. Declan Rice and Saka providing the assist for Gabriel, although the second one technically counts an own goal. But there were more that Palace got lucky not to concede from. I think there was one that hit the woodwork and stuff. Palace were really bad. The defenders were all terrible, just let Arsenal have too much space. Eze was the only real bright spark for Palace. He actually did all right. He went on a few good dribbles, had a couple dangerous shots, but nothing too dangerous. I thought Mateta did okay, to be honest. He held up the ball well. He showed a lot of strength against Gabriel, but didn't get any chances. Palace have been linked with a few players from the Championship, Adam Wharton and Sami Szmodics, both playing for Blackburn right now. Szmodics actually top scorer in the Championship. Wharton is a young defensive midfielder who they kind of need because Doucouré's been injured and will probably be injured for a long while. They've also been linked with a right back from the Belgian league. If they can get all these transfers in, they should be absolutely fine, but they should be looking a bit scared right now because it ain't looking too good for Man. Elisa has been linked with a move away. For us, a really important win to reignite their title credentials. So they'd been on a really poor run of form, but to get a big win here against a London rival will fill them with confidence. Liverpool coming up very soon, that's a huge game for them. I think it's a must win if they are going to win the title. Martinelli started on the bench in this game and he came on to show his qualities. He hasn't shown it enough this season, but he really did show it here. And I thought Smith Rowe did very well in his little cameo. He played about 25-30 minutes and he looked very good. He should be starting instead of Havertz in my opinion now. Brentford against Nottingham Forest. The return of Ivan Toney did not disappoint. He scored a free kick and was just, in general, a real threat. It was a complete centre-forward display. He dropped deep, created chances for his teammates, won aerial duels, did everything you needed him to do, scored his goal. It was a very even game in my opinion. I think Brentford maybe slightly edged it, but Forest definitely had a chance of their own. And at 2-2, they almost went 3-2 up through Mangala, but his shot went just wide. Neil Maupay has also suddenly remembered how to play football again. I don't understand how he was so bad at both Brighton and Everton, but he goes back to Brentford and he's insane. It just doesn't make any sense. This is a bad result for Nottingham Forest though, because they are potentially going to be getting a points deduction. Them and Brentford are both very close to the relegation zone. A win here would have given them a little bit of something if they do get that points deduction, because they would only be a little bit away from Brentford. But with a loss here, it's a 6-point swing. So it could be a bit troublesome if they do get penalised. For Brentford, it's a huge result for a man. They'd been in terrible form as well, been playing really poorly, but with this man coming back, it really shows how important he is, man, and they cannot afford to lose him. If they do, they're in trouble. Sheffield United West Ham, I predicted a 2-1 win for Sheffield United. It ended up being 2-2. Very controversial game. I want to say I thought Sheffield United were the better side, but West Ham were definitely robbed at the end of the game. West Ham were 2-1 up, Sheffield United given a penalty. It was very controversial. I mean, I can see why it was a penalty, and it was put away very well. But West Ham should have had a penalty a few minutes later because Bowen was clearly pulled by Ahmedhodzic, but for some reason it wasn't given. It was a much more clear penalty than the Sheffield United one was. West Ham would have closed the gap to Tottenham to just 3 points if they had got the win. And they would have done it without Kudus there, no Paqueta as well. Owen only just come back from injury as well. He definitely did not look like his normal self. You could see he was a bit sluggish. Bournemouth Liverpool. Now I got this one completely wrong and I got flamed in the comments for this one. It was 0-0 at half time, a really poor first half from both teams. I thought Bournemouth were decent at the end and the start of the first half. Liverpool sort of better in the middle period. But in the second half, it looked like two completely different sides came out because Liverpool came out with a real point to prove. They scored within a few minutes of the second half starting. Núñez scored 2 goals, Jota also scored 2 goals and got an assist. What a player he is, by the way, so clinical, man. I think he's the second best finisher in the league behind Heung-min Son. But Bournemouth were terrible. I don't know what happened to them, but they came out, they were sleeping. It's just not the Bournemouth we've seen in recent weeks. Did have a couple of chances though. Brooks had a one-on-one that he completely scuffed. But Liverpool deserved the win. I was wrong, I'll hold my hands up. Since then, Jurgen Klopp has announced he's leaving at the end of the season. That could give the Liverpool players and the crowd a real incentive to go and win the title in his last year. The crowd at Anfield has been dreadful this season. Jurgen Klopp said it himself. Hopefully it encourages more locals to go and make more noise, because they will need it if they're going to win, because Man City have Jeremy Doku back, Erling Haaland's on the verge of coming back, and De Bruyne is also back. So if they're going to win the title, they're going to need to be very, very good. For Bournemouth, it's a really poor result, to be honest with you. I know it's against a good team, but to be beaten 4-0 at your home is just not acceptable. Max Aaron's also got an injury in this game, really sad to see. I love him. Yeah, hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, but it could be out for a few weeks. Finally, Brighton and Hove Albion against Wolverhampton Wanderers ended 0-0 after I predicted a very entertaining 3-2. Another pretty poor game. I mean, Brighton did what you expect Brighton to do. They dominated the possession, they made a lot of passes, but they couldn't really create anything too clear-cut. Pedro had a couple chances, but yeah, he kind of turned into defenders at some of them. Wolves had a big counter-attacking threat. Neto had a chance on a counter-attack. I remember that he hit just wide from a fair distance out. But yeah, I mean, second 0-0 draw in a row for Brighton is unheard of. Unreal, man. This is Brighton and Hove Albion, and they've had 2 0-0 draws in a row. Can't believe it. It's a good point away for Wolves, who were absolutely demolished by Brighton when they played them at Molineux. I don't think either side really deserved anything more, so a draw was a fair result. Let me know what you thought of the game in the comments below, and I'll see you soon for another video.